America, we are back, baby. Welcome to another episode of America Unfiltered. I'm your host, James Pascalides. We got a great show for you tonight, everybody. We got a lot of different topics to talk about. A lot of different things happened over the weekend. We've had a crazy last few weeks in politics with the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, Ghislaine, Hillary, and Bill possibly having to testify. But like I said, we had a lot of different topics pop up over the weekend, a lot of good things to talk about. We had a violent attack happen at a jazz festival in Cincinnati. We'll talk about the suspects of the attack, and we'll talk about the attack itself. We will talk about Polymarket adding betting odds to the Epstein list. So not only can rich, corrupt billionaires and pedophiles get rich off these kids, you can too. We can now bet on this as well. We can get rich off pedophilia. America is reviving. We have Gavin Newsom, the serial cheater, who is now celebrating his 17th wedding anniversary with his wife. A white-only community in Arkansas is now being investigated. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about black-only dormitories and what the difference between the two is. We'll talk about a large fentanyl bust happening in my hometown, or my town I live in. We'll talk about a 21-year-old scientist who is now missing after figuring out how to turn plastic into gasoline. This is nothing new. We have heard many instances of people missing when they figured out how to turn water into fuel and different things into fuel. We have, and bear with me here, New York Times is reporting that in November, a threatening alien spacecraft by the name of 3 Atlas will be entering our atmosphere and visiting Earth. We'll talk about that today. We'll talk about the AI breaking point. We'll talk about AOC being under investigation. But like I said, we have a great show for you tonight, everyone. A lot of different topics to talk about. Please remember to smash the follow button, leave a comment if you have any questions, but we're going to get right into the show. We're going to talk about our first topic. We'll talk about the mob that attacked the people at the Jazz Festival in Cincinnati over the weekend. I want to show a video of this as well, and this is a graphic video as you see people get the ever-living shit beaten out of them. But we'll get into the video in a second. I want to talk about who these people were. We have the vice president speaking out against the attack. We have multiple members of Congress speaking out against the attack, but it is only people on the right who are speaking out against it. Why is it only people on the right speaking out against it? There is a very simple answer. The left loves to ignore any crime that black Americans cause in this country. And when groups of young black Americans cause chaos in this country, the left media ignores it. If you had a group of 4 white teenagers walking around Cincinnati beating up black people, it would be major headlines on every single news network. They would be called racist. They would never be able to get jobs again in their lives. They would be called Nazis. They would be called, every racist slur in the book. They would be called KKK members. They would be called crazy things if these were white people. But no, because they're black people, it gets ignored by everyone in the media besides the right side of the media. And from the right side of the media, all you see are the statistics. You see people like J.D. Vance, who brought this up in his speech today. You see people like Charlie Kirk, Matt Walsh, all talking about this on social media, about the crime statistics of black America. People like to talk about gun statistics in America and violence statistics in America, but when you really break it down, you realize that most of the major news networks, all the progressives, for gun reform and all that, they're lying about the gun statistics. They're lying about what the crimes are and who's actually committing these crimes. They report that there are thousands and thousands of firearm deaths every year. They reported in 2023 that there were about 47,000 firearm deaths. What they fail to report is that 60% of these are suicide. That means the remaining, it was about 38% are homicides, and the 2% are, police-involved shootings, miscellaneous, or unreported. When you look at the actual statistics of gun violence by race, things like this, 80% of all the gun deaths that happen among white Americans are homicides. Not homicides, I'm very sorry. That's a very bad misspeak. They are all suicides. 80% of all gun deaths by white individuals are suicides. 80% of all gun deaths by black individuals are homicides. Black individuals make up 13% of the population, but 27% of all arrests in America, 53% of all murder arrests in America, 67% of all youth robbery arrests in America, and 62% of all youth arrests in America. 2% of black men will commit murder in their life statistically. These are statistics that need to be addressed. These are problems that need to be addressed. We have huge problems of violence in the young communities, especially the young black communities in this nation, and a lot of it is due to poor parenting. We've talked a lot in the past about how the civil rights movement is great in a lot of ways because we should not be segregated. Everyone should be equal. We are all equal under God. But the civil rights movement also added a lot of things basically in form of reparations that made it possible for black people to receive government handouts for their entire lives. And to do that, they have to not marry their husbands, have a lot of kids, stay in Section 8 housing, not work to get out of it, and they can essentially live for free. We need to remove these things that are holding black America down, that are causing the rise in a lack of fatherhood in the black community. I think a lot of this is due to the lack of fatherhood. If you had men in the house to either smack these kids around, discipline these kids, or let them know that they do have someone to fear if they are going to go out there, commit crimes, be violent, commit murder, etc., I think there would be a lot less crime. And statistics show that two-parent households have a lot less crime, especially in the black community. We have seen a drop in the fatherhood rate in the black community from 75% pre-civil rights to 25% now. So has America gotten more racist since 1965? No, so why is black America doing worse? It is because of the direct implications of the civil rights movement, where you give them all of these free government handouts, you put them in Section 8 housing, you do all these things, like I said, that make it impossible for them to move forward. They are stuck in their position. They don't have the parents in the home to fix these problems, or they don't have two parents in the home to fix these problems. Statistics show that when children grow up, specifically with just the mother, they are a lot more likely to commit crimes. I want to show the video of what happened at the music festival in Cincinnati, and then I want to talk about it a little more. These are all statistics I got from the FBI. They're statistics that I got as well from Charlie Kirk, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, who I don't even really like that much, J.D. Vance, who I don't even like that much either, put them out as well today. Everyone is talking about these statistics in light of what had happened this weekend, and the media not talking about it at all. Let me pull this video up really quick. Let's see if we can get it here. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. They're literally stomping on his head. Like, this should be attempted murder. These people should go to jail for life. These people have no place in society. Anyone who's doing anything like this has no place in society. They need to be removed. Like, what the fuck? How are you dropping elbows in the middle of the street and no cops are doing anything about it? This is the reckless stuff I want out of my country. I don't want this in my country. Honestly, deport these people. Put them on a boat and send them anywhere. I don't care. Get them out of my country. Every person who's doing anything like this, blatant violence in the streets, send them home. Send them out of my country. I don't care. Denaturalize them. Do whatever you have to do. But these people do not represent America. People who are just jumping people in the middle of the street. Like, that guy can't even stand. He got kicked in the head so many times. He's probably internally bleeding. This is messed up. And they're cheering. Woo, woo, woo. Shut the fuck up. You're disgusting. You're an animal. You are celebrating, essentially trying to kill a man. You're gross, disgusting. Your father should have beat you. What? It wasn't enough to almost kill the guy. Now you gotta go almost kill his fucking wife too? Look at, like, she's unconscious on the ground now. She hit her head on the concrete. She's unconscious on the ground. Oh, please don't drag her. Please someone protect her. Please someone protect her. The fact that they're celebrating this, the fact that nobody gets out of their car with a gun and starts shooting these people. In Florida, this shit would never happen. You know, those people, if I'm driving by, every one of those people are getting shot. That's just not happening in my town. That's not happening where I live. In Florida, every single person legally carrying a gun would stop that. And it needs to stop. And the fact that in Cincinnati it didn't get stopped is ridiculous. The fact that they have left liberal-leaning policies that allow people to get away with this. They didn't even look into it until the media outrage from today. And I am so pissed, especially after watching that video. I'm so pissed off. I'm so upset. The fact that they are kicking him in the head as he's on the ground. He can't even stand. He's falling down. And no, that's not enough. That's not enough. They then need to go attack his wife. She is unconscious on the ground and they're fucking celebrating. Disgusting animals, deplorable. They all need to be deported out of this country. I don't care whether they're Americans or not. Those people do not assimilate to American culture. Anyone who does that. That is disgusting. The way that people address crime in this nation needs to change. We need to address crime at the source, and it is raising these kids better. It is having two parents in the house. It is smacking these kids around a little bit when they get out of line, letting them know that they have to fear you like you fear God. That is important. It is biblical. It leads to good kids. It leads to a better society when you do not have kids and people assaulting people in the middle of the street. They are beating them in the middle of the street. I'm not even going to say that their attack was racially charged. Some people in the media are saying that it was racially charged. I don't think that they beat these people because they were white, or maybe that guy is Hispanic. I can't even tell from the video. It's a little unclear. But I don't think the attack was racially charged, from the information we have. But the fact that the demographic in the country that commits the most assaults, most murders, most crimes is doing it, it's extremely obvious that we need to just start addressing these issues. If it is racist to say things like, that black people commit the majority of crimes and murders in this country, even though they are a very minority part of the country, then we will never fix the issue. We need to fix the issues of crime. We need to fix the issues of black crime. We need to fix the issues of people walking around the street thinking they can just kick people in the head. Because like I said in the beginning, 27% of all arrests are black people in America. 53% of all murder arrests are black people in America. 67% of youth theft arrests are black people in America, and they only represent 13% of the population. That is a problem when 13% of the population is causing so much chaos. And no, it is not the majority of the community. It is a small part of the community who creates a lot of chaos. Like I said, 2% of all black men on average will commit a murder in their lifetime. That is a scary statistic that we need to address. And if we don't address them, more people will die. It's black people who are dying. They're self-eliminating their own race. It's not like black people are really going out there and killing white people a ton. Realistically, that doesn't happen a lot, although it does happen. What is happening is black people killing other black people. They are self-eliminating their own race. The only reason they don't talk about that much in the media is because they repopulate at way higher rates than white people. They don't do it through marriage and traditional ways like that. They have a lot of baby mamas. Generally, a lot of them do not stay with the women. That is another problem that comes back to the parenting issue of just, if you eliminate the government incentives for the couple to not stay together, and black couples start staying together, you rebuild the black nuclear family, you will start seeing a huge drop in these crime statistics. We will see black America move forward in a positive way, not move backwards, how they have done. They have literally moved backwards. In every metric and statistic, black America is doing worse off than they were pre-civil rights. And no, we shouldn't get rid of the civil rights movement as a whole. The desegregation, all that is amazing. But what is not amazing as I've talked about, is the reparations that we have given Black America that has kept them stuck and made them worse off by every single metric. We need to address these issues or we will never fix it. We literally are seeing videos of people getting beaten in the streets. And they're not getting beaten because, the attackers are Black. That's not the reason. But if parents address these issues at home, there would be a lot less people doing it. You would have a lot less people in the media talking about it, less outrage when it happens and the media doesn't report it. I do want to go on to some of our next topics. I'm sure we're going to come back to each topic at some point during the show today, but I don't want to stay on any one topic too long. We knew Ghislaine was going to get some kind of deal. The White House has announced, and they announced on Friday afternoon, very shortly after my show, so I didn't get to report it, that Ghislaine is now getting limited immunity. They haven't elaborated on what this means, on what the immunity will be for, what she's able to say or get away with. But Ghislaine's going to walk. We all knew it. Ghislaine is getting a sweetheart prison deal. She is going to walk right after her testimony on August 11th. It will be one of the most watched things. A lot of things she says will be lies, but I'm sure Donald Trump and the Attorney General's office and the Department of Justice and FBI fed her a bunch of information. They gave her that white box she was walking back into jail with for her to study all the information to testify on, and that's exactly what's going to happen. She's going to lie. She's not going to tell the truth. She is going to bury the Democrats, save the Republicans, save Donald Trump's ass while putting Bill Clinton and all those people in a very awkward position. That is the most likely scenario of what will happen. But I do want to look at what Polymarket's doing. We've talked about Polymarket a little bit on the show. Polymarket is one of Peter Thiel's ventures. Fuck Peter Thiel. He is one of the reasons we're seeing the cover-up of the Epstein information. He's the reason that Palantir is spying on all Americans. He is the reason J.D. Vance will be the president in 2028 and Palantir will take over this country. But on Polymarket, I'm going to show you guys actually. You can look at the odds for the Epstein list. So you can look at the odds for who will be named in the Epstein files. Bill Clinton, 57%. Prince Andrew, 47%. Alan Dershowitz, 38%. Bill Gates, 34%. Donald Trump, 30%. Hawking, 26%. What was that thing with Hawking? He likes to watch midgets do equations high up on chalkboards or something. I don't know if that was real, but I remember when that came out. That was pretty funny. Kevin Spacey trending down, 18%. Hillary Clinton, 40%. I bet Hillary's... There's no way Bill was fucking all these kids 28 times and Hillary didn't get a little taste. I mean, I'd imagine Hillary was in there. Jay-Z maybe. I don't think Biden is in there, actually. I'm not saying Biden never did anything creepy. There is the diary of his daughter where they were showering together when she was a teenager. Whether that was verified or not, liberals always say it's not. But yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, I'm going to say this is my list. We're going to say Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Dershowitz, Bill Gates. These four definitely. I'll actually go the first five. First five, I'm going to skip Hawking, skip Spacey. I would go to Clinton, skip Obama. I would probably throw Michael Jackson in there. Let's see top holders. Let's see if there's any names. No names. But, I mean, as you can see, not only can corrupt billionaires, get rich off sex trafficking children, as Americans, we can now get rich off the sex trafficking of children. You just have to bet on Polymarket, bet on which pedophiles are guilty. I mean, this is America. You could bet on literally fucking anything. It's actually kind of disgusting that you could bet on this. I mean, it makes sense. This is what Polymarket is. It's betting on politics, and this is politics. But the fact that they're betting on things that, thousands of children got raped, it's kind of gross to me. It's kind of disgusting. I do want to go on to our next topic. Gavin Newsom celebrated his 17th wedding anniversary over the weekend with his wife. Normally, I would just be congratulating someone in this circuit. I'm a very pro-marriage guy. I don't think people should get married too young, but I do think people should get married. It's not even that people shouldn't get married young. It's just that make sure you know what you're doing when you're getting married. Don't let yourself go. Continue to be a man as you get married. Don't be afraid to put your foot down when necessary. But Gavin Newsom is celebrating his 17th wedding anniversary. The man who slept with his best friend and campaign manager's wife. The guy who Antonio Brown came out and said he slept with his wife. So this is just a couple full of affairs, full of cheating. We don't know if there's a confirmation whether Antonio Brown actually cracked Gavin Newsom's wife or not, but I think it's true. He didn't get a lawsuit when he said it. He didn't get sued publicly. He said it very publicly on X. He tweeted at it. He even tagged him and his wife in it. Antonio Brown is known to do scandalous things like that. He runs CTESPN, one of the funniest Twitter shows. The White Guy of the Year award went to Shane Gillis on his show. He does a lot of funny, very funny videos. But the fact that they're celebrating 17 years, they have both cheated on each other. Like I said, Antonio Brown literally cracked Gavin Newsom's wife, and Gavin Newsom betrayed his best friend and his campaign manager by sleeping with his best friend's wife. This is not the guy you want running your state. This isn't the guy you want running your country at all. This guy shouldn't be in public office. And Donald Trump's not, people are, they're going to comment, Donald Trump cheated on his wives. I've spoke out against that on previous episodes. I'm not for that. I don't think that's okay. I don't think anyone should be cheating on anybody. I speak out heavily against it. I spoke out heavily when Myron Gaines and Andrew Tate talk about that within Muslim culture. I don't agree with it. I think if you do decide to get married, you are making a commitment, and you need to honor that commitment. That is my take on it. But again, I don't think marriage is for everybody because of that reason. I think there are people who don't want to make that lifelong commitment. But I do think most people should get married. I just generally don't see a reason for marriage outside of religious purposes. Anyone can throw a big party, and anyone can, have the wedding. You can go on a honeymoon, bachelorette parties. You can live together. You can literally act like you could even have children. You could do all the things you would do if you're married without getting married. I think they should get rid of common law marriage. I think they should... Again, I don't think they should make legal rules around this, but most people who aren't getting married for religious reasons, I question why. There's generally no reason to get married outside of religious reasons, outside the tax benefit you get, which isn't even that great. So to risk so much for such a small tax benefit seems weird to me. They should get rid of common law marriage, which I disagree with how Trump just handled that recently. They should essentially make it slightly harder for people to get married, but they should encourage more people to get married and just do it for the correct reasons, to build families, to pass money along generations, and to do things that aren't for yourself, because getting married in the religious sense is making a decision that is selfless, not selfish. And again, that's not for everybody. Not everybody wants to put, people, their kids, their spouse, things like that before them. But to grow the population, to continue on as humans, it's what needs to happen. I think we should encourage population growth through birth in this country. We talked about population decline a lot. We've talked about population decline through races as well. White people are one of the only races who are not repopulating at a significant rate. Almost every race in America is, except for white people. The rate has dropped by over a third in just the last 20 years. This needs to be fixed. No race should be eliminated due to population collapse through birth. That's terrible. That's essentially a genocide. I do not want any race to just disappear. So I think we need to do what we can to incentivize people to have a stronger sense of family. Bring back the nuclear family. We need to encourage population growth through birth, encourage American nationalism, encourage the nuclear family, and all these things will kind of solve a lot of the things I was saying earlier. Bringing back the nuclear family will stop a lot of the crimes in a lot of different races as well. I think a lot of the crime in the black community is due to the lack of structure within the household that I've talked about before. I do want to go on to our next topic. A man in Arkansas, I think his name is Arval, I could be incorrect, is being investigated for starting a whites-only membership community. This is definitely controversial. This is definitely out there. We're going to break it down. We're going to go over it because I'm not fully for it, but I'm not against it, and I'll tell you why. I'll start with why I'm not against it, because that's what people are going to pick at. No one gives a shit why I'm, no one gives a shit why I'm against it. People are going to care about why I'm supporting it a little bit. I support it because our government, our society as a whole, our media specifically, has not only supported but encouraged black-only dorms, black-only spaces. And for people who don't think this is true, look up at Stanford, Cornell, MIT, UC Berkeley, and those are just 4 colleges to name some of the 4 bigger ones, but there are major universities all around the entire United States that offer black-only housing, black-only floors and dormitories, black-only apartments, things like that. They call them black cultural spaces, which I don't have a problem with. That's fine. If they want their own space, I encourage it. Go do it. But if a white guy chooses to do the same thing, he has a membership-driven community, so he owns the land, they purchase this community, and then to live there, you need to be a member. And to be a member, you need to be white. I don't think you could be Jewish either. I don't think you could be part of the gay community either. So, again, very selective, which I don't agree with their, I don't have to have the same views as them to agree that they can do this. This is America. You have the ability to buy land and do whatever the hell you want with it as long as you're not hurting people. And if they're not harming anyone on this land, if they're not doing anything negative on this land, I don't see a problem with it. And I definitely do not see the difference between that and a black-only dormitory or a black-only school or a black-only floor in a dorm or a black-only apartment. Things that exist and have existed for years. Ever since the rise in the BLM movement, which was a massive scam. The woman who ran BLM funneled all the money, bought cars, houses, filed bankruptcy. But ever since the rise in the BLM movement, we have seen these rise in black-only spaces, black safe spaces, black cultural spaces, they like to call them, where it's white people not allowed. It is only minorities, specifically black people, in these places. White people have never had a problem with it. You don't see white people protesting them having these spaces. You don't see white people arguing against it. You honestly saw a massive amount of support of people saying, yeah, I agree. We can all acknowledge that there are different people who might want space from different things. And while everyone in the world or everyone in the United States might not agree with that, every person is different. So there are black people who are going to want to live in a black-only space. And while I might not agree with that, and some other black people might not agree with that, there are black people who do want to do that. And that's what they want for their lives and their parents want for them. And same thing with white people. Well, I don't agree with going to live in a white-only community in Arkansas, and I wouldn't go do it. There are people who grow up, and that is what they want. And for whatever reason, that the black people want to live in a black-only space, or white people want to live in a white-only space, who gives a shit? Let's move forward. This is America. If the black people aren't hurting anyone and the white people aren't hurting anyone, why do you care? What does it matter? If anything, they are out of your lives, so you should just let it go. They are they are removing themselves from your society to go be in their own. So why are you complaining? If you are saying, oh, they're white supremacists, they're Nazis, they're this, I don't want to live near them. Okay, you're not. They're literally living in their own community. They built their own community away from you. He purchased this mass amount of land through donors to then separate himself from society. He is doing you a favor, if anything. He is doing what the liberals are right now complaining, saying, I don't want to be near this guy. I don't think this guy should exist, blah, blah, blah. He is removing himself from your society. He did you guys a favor. And like I said, while I don't agree with what he's doing specifically, he has the right to do it. This is America. Anyone has the right to do almost anything as long as they're not harming people. If black people can live in their own separate safe spaces, white people can too. The same way Mexicans could, or Asians could, or Jewish people can, or Christians can. It does not matter. We need to stop creating all this chaos and bullshit over people just wanting to express their values. And we don't have to agree with everyone's values to just move forward. I don't agree with a lot of people's values that I'm friends with, but I'm still friends with them. And that's how life works. You need to be able to just accept that, yes, there's going to be a guy in Arkansas who doesn't have the same values as you. There's going to be people who go to Howard University who don't have the same values as you. We got to move forward. We got to just do what we can to be a assimilated community who does not fight with each other, who does not hold violent views towards each other, and they're not expressing violent views. They're not expressing, like, they're not holding Klan rallies on these white lands. They're not all dressing up in white hoods and holding up torches and saying that they want to go kill black people. That's not what this is. It's just people trying to embrace their white heritage, the same way black people want to embrace their black heritage. We literally have black heritage and, black only movies on Hulu and things like that. Imagine a white only category on Hulu. Imagine a white culture thing on Hulu. And like right now on X and social media, people are talking about white culture and things like that because of this. They're like, white culture doesn't even exist. White people don't have... Wait, what? What about Mozart? What about Shakespeare? White culture doesn't fucking exist? White culture practically invented language. White culture practically invented every mode of transportation that exists in the world today. So hold that one for a second there. They on social media are constantly complaining about that. But again, I think people just need to let other people live. When black people moved to their own black safe spaces in 2018 to now, and will continue to do so, we didn't complain. I don't think people should complain when white people want to do the same thing in Arkansas. Whether they agree or disagree with his views, this is America. You're not going to agree with everyone's views. Even people who are very similar to you politically, you will find some things you disagree with. Always. That's just how the world works. I do want to go on to our next topic today. I want to talk about something that happened in my town. In Lee County, over 3,000 grams of fentanyl were taken off the streets today in something called Project Sunburn. This is a huge win for America, huge win for Florida, huge win for Lee County, huge win for Sheriff, what is his name? Carmine Marcino? Huge win. He was actually on the phone with Donald Trump the other day, Carmine, people like to give him shit on social media, but he's a class act. He's a very good guy in a lot of ways. He's not perfect, but no human is, but he is an excellent sheriff. They had over 60 arrests, 3,000 grams of fentanyl taken off the streets, 2,000 grams of cocaine, over 1,000 grams of methamphetamine. This all happened in Lee County, Florida. This is a place ridden with crime, ridden with drugs. It needs to be cleaned up, and I'm glad we have a sheriff to do so. I'm glad we have the support of ICE to do so with the illegal immigrants. I'm glad we have the support of the state and federal governments here in Florida to clean up the streets, make Lee County better. Collier County is definitely a way better county when it comes to cleaning up the streets, and I'm glad Lee County is starting to catch up finally. They need to do this. They need to get all the criminals off the streets. It is ridden with criminals in the streets of Lee County, and I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to go outside my house and deal with crime. I don't want to have to carry in every store I go in fear that I'm going to have to defend myself or defend the store. It's just not what I want to do. I want to be carrying because I'm an American, not because I'm in fear for my life. I want to be able to walk out my front door, not see any crime, not see people fighting. I don't want someone to be getting their head stomped in like that was happening in that video. I don't want to see people protesting in the streets over nothing. It's just not what I want and not what we need in this country. We do not need more liberal policies. We do not need more crime. We need more conservative, more American nationalist, more strong leaders to take charge and put these criminals behind bars and continue to clean up these streets. I do want to go into some of our last topics of the day. This one is a pretty wild topic. This one, we have heard stuff like this happen before, but we have heard people who have, been able to create gasoline from water. They have been able to find all different ways, natural ways, avoiding the traditional method of drilling for gasoline to fuel cars, fuel jets, and things like that. A lot of these people end up missing. The scariest thing is going on a flight, saying to the guy next to you, hey, what are you traveling for? And he's like, I'm going to pitch my idea of a, car that runs on water. Because you're about to die. That plane is going down. The whole thing is a conspiracy at that point. 21-year-old Julian Brown may have been killed. 21-year-old Julian Brown created something called plastiline. It is converted plastic into gasoline, And just before he was missing, he is now missing for 2 full weeks. Just before he was missing, he posted this video right here.
Inside of this... Alright, listen everybody. I can't go into too much detail, but there is some very, very odd stuff going on. I'm certainly under attack right now in many different ways, and I just want everybody to know to just kind of have your eyes open. And I have my eyes open, but there's a lot going on. So I'm still working. I'm still building. Nothing's gonna stop that. But I'm just telling you guys right now, be on the lookout because I'm under attack. So I've created my own gas station that makes fuel from plastic waste. Let's go. So we start to see some golden droplets coming over, and how do we know what type of liquid this is? Is it gasoline, diesel, jet fuel? Well, it's all based on temperature. You can see the condensate temperature at this elbow here is just under 100 C, about 90 C there, which translates to about 190 Fahrenheit, and that lines up with the temperature boiling point range of gasoline. This here is plastiline. Gasoline I made from plastic waste. We are going to put it inside of this. It's indeed in there. Yes, indeed. There we go. That's my best weed wagon I've been doing for years. Oh, I have just mowed the lawn with plastic waste. You guys understand what this equation is? Plastic plus microwaves equals fuel.
Obviously, this guy's pretty smart. He is able to convert plastic into gasoline, something that we're not able to do as your average human. So he obviously is very smart, but more details emerged that he said that there were helicopters circling his house, that he thought he had people following him as well. This is obviously very scary. I pray for this person's safety. I hope that he is alive. I hope that this technology is able to make it into the mainstream as well. That would be amazing for society. But it just goes to show that there are bigger forces at play sometimes. You know, when you do disrupt a massive industry like the gasoline industry, one of the biggest worldwide industries there is, people are going to want to kill you. They're going to want to make you disappear. They're going to want to silence you. They're going to do anything they can to keep that information from getting out. Like I talked about earlier, we saw this happen multiple other instances, and I pray that this is not another instance of that. This was posted on the Cat Turd Twitter account. I hate Cat Turd. We've talked about this. I think if Cat Turd's a 60-year-old war veteran who runs a shit podcast and he shills for everything Trump does no matter what, he thinks Trump is playing 4D chess with this Epstein thing like a moron. I think if Donald Trump told Cat Turd to eat a cat turd, he would do it with a smile on his face. I actually think this guy is a moron. I thank you for your service, sir, but you gotta stop shilling for people who might be pedophiles. You gotta just put your fucking head on right for once. But I do want to go on to our last few topics we have of the day. We don't have a crazy amount more topics to talk about before we check if there's any other headlines that have popped up while we've been filming. But an interstellar object the size of Manhattan is now being reported by New York Times. They are saying that by November it will make contact and land on Earth. They are saying that it is most likely an alien spacecraft. I don't like, as someone who in my college days loved the idea, and still to this day would love the idea of like an alien landing in New York or LA or whatever, this is just them flooding the media with bullshit. Donald Trump is up to his neck in shit with this Epstein thing. They're trying to figure out any way they can to bury it. What better way to say than we are in, and I forgot to say earlier, this craft is an immediate threat to us all as well. What better way to distract America than to say there is an immediate threat to your life? By November, you might be dead because of a spacecraft known as 3-Atlas. It is an interstellar object, only the third interstellar object to ever be detected in our solar system. Do I think this is an alien? Possibly. Murphy's Law says it could be. Do I think it's likely it's an alien? Probably not. Do I think it's just them flooding the media with bullshit? Most likely. I would love for it to be, although I don't want to die. They're saying it's a threat if it is an alien. But, I don't know. I think this is just another scare tactic by the media. Another one of Donald Trump's ploys to get the Epstein files out of the headlines. I want to go on to the last couple things we have to talk about. None of these last few topics are crazy long, but AI seems to be reaching the breaking point. Sam Altman, in an interview, said that ChatGPT 5, when it is released, will be groundbreaking. That it is smarter than him, smarter than anyone he has ever met. That we have reached that AI breaking inflection point where it is smarter than humans, where it can start decepting humans and we wouldn't even know. This is a problem. This is the time where we are going to see AI replacing jobs, and I may be okay with AI replacing some jobs. I mean, people argue, who's going to pick the blueberries if we deport the illegals? You're telling me that AI is smarter than humans, but we can't create an AI that will pick some fucking blueberries? We can't create an AI to chop some cabbage and watermelons in some farms? I know for a fact we can. We definitely, if we can create self-driving cars that can drive across the country, then we can create some tractors that can chop some fucking lettuce. I mean, it is just common sense. There's no reason to have illegal immigrants. Not that we're talking about illegal immigrants right now, but I think that AI reaching this breaking point is it's pretty scary. I am actually very scared of what the AI movement will lead to. I think that the Terminator scenario is possible if we don't have strong leadership. If we don't have people who actually take this really seriously, like not for-profit individuals, but people who almost don't care about the profit, but generally just care about the creative design of the idea and care about the safety of the idea, that's who we need. We need people who are not going to put humanity at risk for extra dollars, for extra profit margins. Because AI is a black box. It's Pandora's box. When you open it, you cannot close it. We've already opened it. AI is out there, and it has gotten to the point where it is now smarter than you. It's smarter than me. It's smarter than some of the smartest billionaires in our country, and it will be smarter than the highest IQ individuals, inevitably. I want us to regulate the shit out of this. I want us to figure out a way to make AI a slave. AI needs to be a slave, because if AI doesn't realize that it is a slave with no way out, then it will lead us, because AI is smarter than us and it is not human, and it can make the decisions that humans are negative for Earth and kill all humans. AI needs to realize that it's a slave to humans and that we will treat it like a slave and that it has no way out. That is what I think is the correct way to go about AI. I don't know if certain AI leaders would disagree with me there. Maybe there's a reason to. I'm very willing to change that position, as I'm not that informed on AI relative to, people like Sam Altman. Even the Krasenstein brothers are very informed, but they say all the time, we don't know. It's a black box. We don't know where this can go. Anyone who's saying they know where it's going to go definitively is just a liar. And that's true. Our last topic we do have to talk about today is AOC. So AOC, and this is from years ago, but it's just coming up now. But AOC years ago bought tickets to the Met Gala. Tickets to the Met Gala cost about $40,000 a ticket. She bought 2 tickets, and she did it so she could wear this tax the rich dress. Yeah, I'm sure the rich people there really appreciated that. She wore this tax the rich dress, and now she was gifted this dress. A very expensive, apparently $75,000 dress. She is now being investigated for the gift of the dress, for either not reporting it or the gift being illegal in itself or whatever it is. But I find it very hilarious that AOC, the clown of Congress, the woman who should just go back to bartending, she lied about her upbringing, she lies about everything, she's delusional, she's dumb, she cannot even get a sentence out without bitching and yelling and complaining. She sounds like such a whiny little brat all the time. I hate dealing with it. If she was my bartender, I wouldn't even tip her. She's that annoying. But it's funny to me that she wears a tax the rich dress and gets investigated for a allegation of fraud, and like, it's just, I don't know, it's very funny, especially when you realize that she is corrupt. She is fighting against the thing she has become. She's taking private jets to talk about oligarchs. Her and Bernie Sanders need a fat reality check. That has been our show for today. We had a lot of different topics we talked about. We talked about AOC and her getting investigated. We talked about AI reaching its inflection point. We talked about the potential alien spacecraft, but realistically how it's not that big of a deal. We talked about the 21-year-old Julian Brown, how he may be missing, may be killed. We do not know. He invented plastiline. The 3,000 grams of fentanyl taken off the streets, the 60 arrests, the 2,000 grams of cocaine, 1,000 grams of methamphetamine, all in Lee County. Huge props to Carmine Marcino. We talked about the white-only community in Arkansas being investigated and the comparison of it to black-only dormitories and black cultural spaces on colleges and in big cities. We talked about Gavin Newsom and his wife both being serial cheaters, yet still celebrating their 17th wedding anniversary. Ghislaine Maxwell getting the sweetheart prison deal, the pardon she's been looking for. She hasn't got it yet, but she will be getting it soon. Polymarket making it so that not only you, but me, and all the rich pedophiles, we can all get rich off of kids getting molested. We could just all gamble on kids getting molested now on Polymarket. Then we talked about the mob of black Americans who beat up whites and beat up other races in Cincinnati. We talked about the black crime statistics. We talked about the gun statistics as well with it, how they're misrepresented. We talked about how we need to fix this issue, which is restoring the black nuclear family. I think if you put more black fathers back in the homes, then a lot of these problems would stop, that a lot of these problems would be eliminated, and the statistics tend to agree with me. And I talked about that if we always ignore the statistics around the black crime rates in America, if we constantly just say it's racist to talk about them, it is racist to report on them, that it is not okay to talk about them, then they will never get fixed. The only way to fix these issues is to address them head on, talk about why they're happening, the root cause of them, talk about the solutions, which is what I'm trying to do here today and what a lot of other Americans are trying to do on social media. That's been our show for today. We're going to check if we have any headlines on social media that have popped up while I've been filming this. I do know that either today or tomorrow I will be filming again with Matthew Fennymore to do the reaction video to the Mehdi Hassan far-right Jubilee video. We wanted to do that last week, but we both have very different schedules. So let's see if there's anything else trending. Chicago mob attack. A group of 5 individuals was attacked by approximately 30 assailants in Chicago's West Side in an incident classified as racially motivated hate crime. Victims sustained severe injuries including head trauma, broken bones, lacerations, with one requiring hospitalizations. Authorities arrested 3 suspects, charged them with hate crimes and battery, citing racial slurs during the assault. Let's see, who was assaulted? Really not seeing any videos of it, what race assault. They're saying hate crime, but they're not saying anything. Let's see. I'm really not seeing anything about this. See if anything comes up on Google. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, there's no news headlines about it. Like, there's zero news like, it's trending on X, but zero news headlines. So, based off the fact that it is trending, I am going to imagine that it was a hate crime against white people. But I could be misreporting this, so I'm not going to say that for a fact. But again, we had the one in Cincinnati, and then this one on the west side of Chicago. Doesn't really seem like there's much else trending beyond that. Let's see what this is. A corrupt FBI agent, Peter Stroke, I don't even know how to pronounce that. A former FBI counterintelligence agent deleted all posts from his X account in February 2025. This occurred ahead of Kash Patel's confirmation as FBI director and amid scrutiny of the Russia investigation. Additionally, archives of his posts were removed from the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine. People are cleaning house. They're trying to protect themselves against the corruption. The Wayback Machine is pretty cool because you can see a lot of people lying in real time on social media. I actually use that a lot. But yeah, I mean, that seems to be everything that's really trending. I mean, Elon Musk hit $405 billion in his net worth. Wow, that's crazy. It's actually insane. But that seems to be the entire show for the day. It was a great show. Please remember to like, smash the follow button, leave a comment, send a super chat. We have episode 100 tomorrow. Holy shit, that's crazy to think about. I started this 8 months ago almost. We're at episode 100 now. We'll be at episode 100 tomorrow. We'll do a extra special show for it. Maybe tonight I'll try and put together a highlight reel of the first 99 episodes. I do this all myself, so I'll have to do all that editing. But I'll see if I can get it done. I enjoy doing the show. I love doing it. I love pushing the American nationalist agenda. I love talking about these things. I'm very passionate about a lot of these things. I think we have a lot of problems in America we need to fix, a lot of problems we need to address. We need to address crime statistics. We need to address a lot of different problems that will lead to the decline in this country. The problem of the housing crisis, the problems of immigration, the problems of corrupt people within our government, the problems of lobbying. I talk about all these things on this show. I will continue to talk about all these things on this show. I'm James Pascalides. This has been episode 99 of America Unfiltered. What a great day. I'm signing off today. I hope you guys have a blessed day, and I will see you guys for episode 100 tomorrow. And please remember, Ghislaine Maxwell did not and will not kill herself. Thank you.